Feeling stuck like you, don't know what to do. I know there's more in you, but you cannot see it. There's a remedy, and I've got the strategy. It's time to turn your dreams into a reality. Push, and I'ma help you. 'Cause it's time to. And I'ma help you. 'Cause it's time to.
Hi, guys. Welcome again to another episode of Push Talk Podcast. My name is Ose Sesay, and I am your push strategist here to push you towards your purpose in your business, in your career, and beyond. Today, we're focusing on business. This is going to be a great podcast episode for those who are trying to figure out what business is best for you, how to determine a good business model for yourself. But before I get into the episode, I want to encourage you to please take a moment. If you have not already subscribed to our podcast, we are available on Apple Podcasts. We are available on YouTube. So please take a moment and subscribe now so you do not miss out. I will also say if you have not made a comment on our podcast page, please do that now so we can know how we can improve, how we can get better for you. You can do that on Apple Podcasts, or you can just hit us up and send us a message on social media and say topics that you want us to talk about. But let's get back to our episode topic. So, what business is best for you? What idea is really going to be successful for you? There's several things that I like to evaluate before I get into business, and I want to talk about those things with you guys today. This week, I've been posting about business models that are not ones that I'm only speaking from my experience that I typically believe are good for people going into business who are new. And part of those are these pyramid business ideas. There are some that are very good that work for people like I don't know if any of you remember Avon or Mary Kay, those makeup programs where women will sell product, they'll buy product, sell it, and then they have like somebody who is like overseeing them, and I guess they're on their team, and as they sell, that person makes sales. Some of those are not bad. I get it. You want something that you want that group, that camaraderie as your on a sales team. That's totally different to me. I think those are great, and I think it's a great way for you to be able to do beauty and things you love. But there are some others that have been around that I'm like, that is one step away from a lawsuit. And there's just so much that happened, not only during the pandemic, but overall, pyramid schemes have been around for years. I have been one who people have always asked to take part, join, because they know I have a drive for business and so forth. And but I'll tell you, they just don't end up. It's not something that I personally recommend. I think that there's tons of way to do business, and entrepreneurship to me is about really going through the grind and building from the bottom up in the foundation. So the people who build those pyramid schemes, the foundation people, are the one who's very successful. For those who come in later, they're not the ones who are successful. And many times, like I said, look at some of the legal implications of those, because I've heard of some crazy ones that can cause people trouble down the line. But we won't spend our time on that. We only have 15 minutes to talk about this, so I want to jump right into the episode. So, when business ideas come to me, because I have tons, I have so many ideas on the shelf, I have so many ideas that I'm trying to pursue. There's just so many things. But we have to be, one of the things I would recommend is we have to be very focused on one and build, because I meet with a lot of business owners who are like, I do this, I do this, I do this, and I want to do this, and my business is this. But we can't change Rome in the day. Like, we can't do everything. You have to really hone in on one aspect and you build over time. And I learned that even when I started my firm, because I had all these services I wanted to offer, and I felt good about it. But as I sat and met with, as I worked on my business plan and met with somebody who was helping me with my business plan, he really advised me, like, look, I see that your business falls here, and this is the umbrella. Let's focus on services and so forth, and underneath this umbrella, and then we could expand over time. And what the way I figured out where to focus is what was more lucrative at that time, what was bringing in more money for the business, and of course what I love to do. So you have to really be focused, and make sure that whatever your idea is, that it's not all over the place, is very, succinct, you can articulate it. Because another thing business owners tend to do is, when we're asked what do we do, we have like this long paragraph, and we lose people. And I used to have people ask me, okay, what does your business do, what does your business do? And when I realized I got that question too many times, when I first started my consulting business, I said I need to go back to the foundation and figure out what do we do that's clear, concise, that people will be able to really understand. But okay, so that's one piece of advice I would give. The other thing is figuring out what business works for you. My first point would be, um, who are you? What drives you? What are you passionate about? Those are ways for you to understand if the business that you're going into is good for you. I will not tell you that every business idea that I have, I'm super passionate about, because some of them are very lucrative. And because I have a business mindset, I can still do that business, even though I'm not I don't have, like, it's not something I wake up, eat, sleep, want to do every day. But I know that if I put in the work and that I do have an interest in it, it can turn into something that may even not only grow my passion, but I partner with people who are passionate, and I'm like somewhat of an investor in that business, if that makes sense. So, it doesn't have to be you're 100% passionate, but I would say for my early stage entrepreneurs who are, thinking of business ideas, those who are in, maybe the corporate world and want to expand or think of what they can do, think about, who are you, what do you have to offer? Is there a special thing you have, that a unique value proposition that you have, a skill you have that drives you, that you love doing, that you're passionate about? That could be your business. And in our next episodes, we're going to talk about how most of us have a business because we have a special skill and we just haven't honed in on it. And I'm going to help you do that. But think about, who are you? What drives you? What are you passionate about? And the business idea in front of you is, does it give you that excitement? Do you see yourself wanting to continue to pursue it? And does it drive you? Can you spend hours researching, building on it? Is it part of you? Is it something that you see yourself doing? That's a first question I would tell you to ask yourself, because never go into business just for money. Yes, we want to make money in business, but you don't want to go just for money. You want to make sure that there's something that you could connect with, and that it drives you, and that you can see yourself doing. Because some people, that I coach, they come and they want to get into business, and they're not the type of person who will do something long term. And with business, it takes time sometimes for you to see breakthrough. It could take 3 years sometimes to just start to get a profit. It could take 2 years sometimes to just start to pay yourself as the founder. You have to have that, long term, ambition and drive to keep you going. The next question I would say, when you're thinking of what business is best for you, or if you should go into, a certain business opportunity, is, do you see a future in the idea? Can you see it growing and there being no risk from, like, a form of a legal perspective? There's no risk. You're not doing something illegally. And you're integral with the business model. Like, do you see it, a future in it? think about, for some, I'll have people come and say they want to start a business, and it's great for right now, but once they're solving, I ask them, what problem are you solving? And the problem they're solving is one right now, but maybe in the next year that won't be a problem. For example, in COVID, a lot of people did well with COVID. They created masks, which I do see us needing long term, but there were some services that were great for while COVID was going on, but after COVID is done. So those business models, they probably were modeled to be able to maximize their profits and what they earned during COVID, and knew when COVID was over is not a service needed, right? So think about, is your business a temporal thing, or is it like, do you see a future in it, and do you see yourself being part of that future? Just an idea or a food for thought on that. In addition to that, my next point that I would bring up is, if you're thinking of going into a partnership, okay? Because a lot of people, when they start a business, they want to start as partners. And, I think that's great, because sometimes two heads are better than one. But partnerships, you have to be very careful with them. Do you know your partner? Do you know their work ethic and their investment in it? Some partners, I had a potential partnership that came to me, and it was three partners. It was myself and two other people. One of them had the same drive and ambition I did. The other didn't have any drive or ambition to actually put in work, but wanted to, um, be get the results. And to me, that was a red flag. And because the partners, they knew each other, and I was coming in as a third, I had to be mindful. Like, is this the best fit for me? I had to seek legal advice and really sit through and say, is this going to work out in the long term? And I saw it didn't, so I did not move forward. So when you're going into partnerships, if that's what you decide to do with your business that you're pursuing, make sure you have the same work ethic, or at least your ethic balance, that the investment you have in it are all the same, or at least is balanced. But most importantly, look at the strength and weakness of each partner. Does the strength of one balance your weakness? That's a huge one, because like, my strength is, I'm a go-getter, I love networking, I get things done, I work, I'll bust out work to be successful. but some partners but some partners may not have that same drive, but maybe their strength is that they're data focused, they're able to handle the financials. So you guys balance each other. You find partnerships that balance each other, and everybody's open to sharing the load. So, and always get legal advice. Get an attorney, get legal advice, especially if that's the direction you want to go into, if it's a partnership. And then one of the last points I'll bring up, because we're already close to 15 minutes. And this podcast is all about giving you 15 minutes, a quick little snippet on your lunch break, for you to be able to, really digest and go after your purpose. But my last point that I will bring up is, what's the upfront investment and what's the return on investment, your ROI? Okay. Will it work out and be worth it in your favor in the end of all this? So, like I was talking about, those some of those pyramids scams, they want you to invest all this up front, but what's the return on investment? Some of them say, oh, well, you have to get X, Y, and Z before you get your return on investment. Okay, well, can you see yourself getting X, Y, and Z? You getting X, Y, and Z, is it legal? You getting X, Y, and Z, is it something that, like we talked about earlier, drives you? You're passionate about it. You see yourself putting in the work to get the results. Like my business, everybody can't do my business. I have to go out there, I have to get clients, I have to be passionate about getting those clients. I have to make sure that when I get a door closed, I'm like, okay, next door. I have to be able to really, push. That's why I'm the push strategist. I'm here to push you towards your purpose. Okay. So the point is, whatever you're investing up front, make sure that your return on investment is worth it. Okay. When you're starting a business, I had a clothing business. You know, when I did my first clothing line, I had a lot. I went. Excuse me. I had a lot of inventory, and I realized that even though my inventory was very cost effective to get it, like it was super cheap, the inventory I bought so much and I wasn't moving it fast enough. So I knew the second go around I would buy less inventory or do pre-orders, you know. So a pre-order model worked great, but then I had to make sure that I could fulfill the orders and that it was a good return on investment, because the pre-order model, also the clothing was not as affordable as the first line. So hopefully you guys can follow that. But what I'm saying is that, you know, look at what you're investing up front. You want to make sure you're not putting too much into it, and then you're not getting that returns. Like I said, mentioned, I had so much inventory left for the first line. So I decided to reassess and strategize and say, okay, the second line, I'm not going to get a lot of inventory. I'm going to make sure that I do pre orders and I have a great return on investment, because I don't want to sit with all this product that I don't sell. And it worked really well. And I would say that look at the overall picture, the lifespan. If you see yourself doing this business for a long time, look overall, make sure that you have a good return on investment. Okay. So we are over time. So I'm going to end here today. But if you have more questions about what business is best for you, how to start, you know, I need direction and help, hit me up. I'm your push strategist. You can find me on pushstrategist.com. Set up a consultation. I do a free 10-minute consultation. And I want to help push you towards your purpose. I want everybody to be an entrepreneur, even if you have a 9 to 5. Do be an entrepreneur, build generational wealth for you and your family. It's important to have diverse income streams. Okay, so thank you guys for joining, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode, or on the seeing and speaking to you on the next episode of Push Talk Podcast.